boys and girls. It's time for Chapter 6 of the Wise Enchanter. So you're going to notice today that I'm putting my reading glasses on. It's gotten a little dark in this room, and I think we're going to have a storm. So it's gotten a little dark, so I thought I'd put my glasses on so I could see the words more easily. Well, we're certainly hoping that in Chapter 6, the children are going to find the letter F. Now, I want you to notice, throughout the chapter, they're going to use many words that start with the letter F. They also will begin each chapter with a word that starts with that letter. These are all things that my class had noticed as we started reading through this story, so it makes it a little bit more interesting. You can listen for the letter F and think pictures in your mind of what's making the letter F. Okay, Chapter 6. For many hours, the boat sailed the sea of silver. Nothing disturbed the glittering surface. Rukmini felt as if they were sailing over glass. It was so clear. You could see the world beneath the waves. Seaweed grew like waving grasses. Colorful fish swam between the corals and the rocks. Suddenly, Rukmini longed to swim with the fish, to leap into the cool blue world beneath the boat. Just then, the boat rocked sideways, and a big swell surged up from the deep. The water grew cloudy as though something big had stirred up the sand. A shadow slipped by, followed by a shape so huge and dark that Rukmini feared that something massive had crossed in front of the sun. The four friends looked at each other and down at the depths. The shadow was below them. For a minute, no one dared to take a breath. Then the shadow vanished ahead of them, moving away as swiftly as it had arrived. "What is it?" Lauren asked, her voice barely a whisper. Rukmini shook her head. "I don't know." Whatever it was at the bottom of the ocean had disturbed the fish too, and now the fish leapt, or rather flew, exploding out of the water and plopping back in as if someone were firing them rapidly out of a sea cannon. There were hundreds of them. "Put up the sail," Michael called. "Follow the flying fish." Michael and Sifo hoisted the sail, and the wind caught it and blew them speedily after the fish. The fish continued to fly. They flipped and flopped, fins flapping, until Lauren and Rukmini and Sifo and Michael almost forgot their fear, watching the funny, frenzied forms darting in front of them. The dormouse slept. The fish led them to a huge rock that jutted high out of the water. Bit by bit, they stopped flipping out of the water. Michael let go of the sail, and it fluttered in the breeze. He shaded his eyes with his hands. "There's something big and shiny and flapping in the crevice of that rock," he said. "Let's go closer and see what it is," Lauren suggested, joining Michael at the front of the boat. Gradually, they came into the shade of the large rock. Every now and again, a tiny fish, still frightened by whatever the big shadow had been, leapt out of the water in a shower of tiny droplets. "Oh, friends, it's a dolphin," Rukmini cried. "A big bottlenose dolphin, and it looks like it's stuck." "I'll help," Sifo cried and took off his shirt. "Me too," Michael said. "We'll wait here," Lauren said. The boys jumped over the edge of the boat into the sea and swam out toward the rock. Rukmini's heart pounded as she inspected the water for shadows. "I don't feel as brave as that," she said quietly, as she watched the boys swimming toward the dolphin. The dolphin flapped a fin. The boys arrived at the rock and climbed out onto a small ledge next to the crevice. Crevice is a great word. It's like a huge crack in a rock. The dolphin was half in the water, half out, and it was clear that it could not free itself from its rocky prison. The boys worked with all their might, gently urging, pushing, tugging, and splashing the dolphin until at last, with a great whoosh, the dolphin was free, and it plunged down into the blue. Several fish burst out of the water, and Rukmini and Lauren felt tears of relief swelling behind their eyelids. The boys slipped down into the water and began to swim back toward the boat. Suddenly, it was as if they were borne aloft. That means raised up into the air. Something came up underneath them, and then they all saw that it was the injured dolphin. "It's going to carry us back," Sifo said, and he was right. The dolphin brought them back safely to their boat. Do you think it's that same first dolphin that we saw at the beginning of the story? I have so many questions. Rukmini held out her hand to help Michael, while Lauren helped Sifo climb back into the boat. The dolphin blew and snorted, bobbing its head out of the water. Then it swam beneath the boat and disappeared. The dormouse slipped through everything. Nothing stirred him. All through the day he stayed at the front of the boat, a perfectly round ball of fur. "Do you think the dark shadow might have been chasing the dolphin?" Rukmini asked her friends. "Yes," said Michael simply, and shook water from his hair. "I think the dolphin got chased into the crevice and wedged itself there by accident." Rukmini felt afraid. She knew now, beyond all doubt, that there was indeed a dark shadow, and it seemed to be following them. Suddenly she had the urge to escape and go home, really home, back to India, with the warm Indian Ocean just steps from her door, and the smell of naan bread drifting from the house. But she knew she had much to do, and she tried to squash the uneasy feeling that rose up at the thought of the shadow. "Do you think that could be the same dolphin we met at the beginning? The one who took us to the sea sprite?" Sifo asked suddenly. "It felt just the same when we were lifted up." "Maybe it was," said Rukmini, and she brightened at the thought. "It felt as if this dolphin knew us and trusted us to help," Michael said. Just then the children noticed all at the same time that the boat was touching sand. Some of them, ahead of them, stretched a beautiful golden beach, shaded by coconut palm trees laden with fruit. "We've hit land," Lauren called, laughing, and just in time. The water was shallow enough for them to climb out of the boat and pull it to shore. "Wake up, Dormouse," Lauren called to the sleeping bundle of fur in her arms. "Your night is over." "So it is," he said slowly. "I wonder what kind of island this is," Sifo said. "Dolphin Island, or Flying Fish Island," Rukmini pointed. "Look, everyone, dolphins and fish everywhere." And there in the bright afternoon sun, as the children gazed out to sea, they saw them, dolphins and flying fish, leaping for joy, flapping their fins in thanks. They swam backward and forward in front of the laughing children until the sun sank down to the sea, staining the rippling waters red and gold. That night, by the light of a full round moon that shone on the beach, Rukmini opened the magic book. They all knew which letter they'd been given, and they watched Rukmini draw it. "Don't forget the flapping fins," Lauren insisted. Rukmini drew the picture perfectly, a fine set of fish and fins, and a dolphin that looked like the letter F. Then she wrote a word in the sand which all three of her friends could read. "We're learning to unlock secrets," she said. "We need to be," and she wrote the word fed. "Yes, we do." They looked at the word in the sand and smiled at one another. Then they went back to the boat and pulled out their supplies for the night. They would have a good supper, or in the case of the dormouse, a jolly good breakfast. Are you ready to see the picture? Rukmini drew it. I don't know about you, but I love dolphins. I'm so happy that the dolphin is one of the central characters in this story. I hope you can see it. This one turned out to be a lowercase f, I think. You can see the dolphin. And there's fins being the cross part. Well, I hope you enjoyed Chapter 6. Can't wait for Chapter 7 at another time.